Did you know that every dollar bill, or its official name, Federal Reserve note, starts as just one of many notes printed on a larger sheet of special paper manufactured for the production of U.S. currency? Federal Reserve notes are printed at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. For over 50 years, Federal Reserve notes have been produced on 32 subject sheets. This means that 32 notes are printed on each sheet, 4 columns of 8 notes. To increase the efficiency in the production process, the BEP is using larger format equipment, which allows for Federal Reserve notes to be printed on larger sheets of paper that can accommodate 50 notes per sheet. These sheets are then cut down into the single notes that you're familiar with. Because the paper and printing processes used to print the notes on 32 subject sheets are essentially the same as a 50 subject sheet, the notes are virtually indistinguishable from each other. To determine the size of the sheet that your note was printed on, look in the upper left portion of the front of the note. You'll find a small letter and number. If the size of the letter is larger than the number, and in this case you'll see that the letter B is approximately twice the size of the letter 2, the note was from a 32 subject sheet. If the letter and number are the same size, the note was printed on a 50 subject sheet. This letter-number combination is called the note position identifier. Not only does the identifier allow you to determine the size of the sheet, but will also allow you to determine the location of your note on the full sheet. For 32 subject sheets, the sheet is divided into quadrants, with 8 notes within each quadrant. Quadrant 1 is the upper left of the sheet, Quadrant 2 is the lower left, Quadrant 3 is the upper right, and Quadrant 4 is the lower right. The number in the note position identifier reflects the quadrant where the note was printed. Each of these note positions has been labeled with a letter A through H, reflecting the 8 notes per quadrant. On this note, the position of the identifier is B2, indicating that the note was from Quadrant 2, position B, on the 32 subject sheet. On the new 50 subject sheets, the sheets can no longer be divided into quadrants. Now we identify the note position by columns and rows. There are 5 columns of notes, which are labeled 1 through 5, and 10 rows of notes labeled A through J. The note position identifier on the 50 subject sheet will range from A1 through J5. Using the B2 note on the 50 subject sheet as an example, the note is from column 2 and row B. The $1 note is the first denomination that will be manufactured for the 50 subject sheet format, and you will begin to see them in circulation in the weeks and months to come. Other denominations will follow, and the U.S. Currency Education Program will provide additional details as the information becomes available. It's important to note that this format change for Federal Reserve notes has no effect on the security of the note. Federal Reserve notes manufactured on 32 subject and 50 subject sheets will circulate together, and both are equally secure. If you're interested in finding out more about U.S. currency, including how to download educational materials, please visit newmoney.gov.